So Rasha, as a parent, how do I discover that my child has this ADHD? Is there a special test I can go run?
Yes, so you you need to first observe your child over the period of 6 months, and your child should exhibit behaviors that are in line with what I said earlier, inattention, hyperactivity, impulsivity. And within these 6 months, if you notice that your child exhibits some of these signs, you should first go and see the doctor. And so he may refer you to a neuropediatrician, and they run behavioral tests and brain scans to check if your child indeed has ADHD, and then recommend the right persons to treat you with therapies and then medications.
If a child is not treated, what are the consequences we are looking at?
Treat it as early as possible, but obviously...
if you don't notice it early.
Exactly, you might not notice it early. There are lots of consequences. So inattention means that the child is unable to focus in class, and so they might get bad grades. Impulsivity or hyperactivity might mean that they're unable to take turns interacting with peers, initiating interactions, and so this might affect their ability to make friends and even keep friends. And so it has drastic effects on them, and then they grow up unable to sustain work or maintain work and be in any form of relationship. And these sometimes lead to depression in adulthood and anxiety. They end up doing drugs.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
This is an eye-opener. So at least if you don't take very good care of it, or you don't treat it as early as possible, this child
they
can grow up and be depressed and go into drugs.
Yeah.
Now, if you're training a child, what are the processes that you go through with a child to enable the child talk again? Or talk, because not even talk again. It's not that they started and they have to go back to it.
All right, thank you. So the goal is not for the child to talk. Talking is... With the language pyramid, talking is actually the last thing on the top. Speech is the last thing. And so there are processes that the child needs to go through. There should be attention and listening. There should be play skills. There should be understanding. There should be social skills. There should be speech. There should be, language, expression of language. It doesn't have to be through speech. It could be through gestures. It could be through signs before speech actually occurs. And so when I assess the child, I look at the child's level. Is the child able to, has the child gone through all these stages? If the child has and the speech is still not there, how can I supplement what the child already knows? So for a child who is not talking, I would look at ways in which he's requesting. For instance, some children will just look, and looking will not be universal for everyone. If I want something, I come to you and I'm just looking. You might not know what I want. And so I find ways to make speech functional or communication functional for this child. And so I might use a communication board, I might use the picture exchange communication system, or I might use text-to-speach.
So there are other steps that you follow?
Yes, there are steps that I will follow.
So what are the steps?
As I said earlier, I'll first assess and look at the child's level under the language pyramid. And so the child needs to come with a diagnosis first. So that is the child on the spectrum? Does the child have ADHD? Is the child already verbal? If the child is the child already using ways and means of requesting? And so there's no clear-cut path. There are different techniques that we use. And so there's nothing like, I'm going through this. If this doesn't work, I can go through another means of getting the child to be more functional.
So every child is different?
Very different, each and every child.
Wow.
Yes.
Does cartoons help?
Screen time is not the best.
Oh, it's not?
Yes, so recent research has showed that children shouldn't be given the screen till about 3 years, yeah. And so screen time doesn't help these kids.
But most of these children now speak like, the cartoons they watch.
Exactly. Are we happy with that? We are not. We don't want the kids to come and be like, no.
And most parents are happy.
Really?
Most parents are happy with this. But it's actually helping, with their speech. Because I didn't want to mention a cartoon, but that particular cartoon, anytime children watch it, it enables them to speak. Yes, and they speak just like the cartoon, Peppa Pig.
Right.
Yes, they speak just like the cartoon when the children watch it. And you hear them say, Mama Pig, Papa Pig, Mama Pig. So they pick up so yes, as you're saying, screen time might not be the best, but I've seen children who have learnt their speeches from some of them. But they say it's not the best, right?
Yeah, so are these kids, were they non-verbal and then after watching the cartoons, they became verbal from the cartoons?
Okay, no, my question here was to do with, will it help? You know, as you are taking the child through a speech therapy, will it help as well?
Yeah, so some kids are known as visual learners, so they learn mainly by looking. So you have to supplement whatever you say by giving them visual cues. And so they might learn from what we call visual modeling or video modeling.
Okay.
And so they will learn whatever video they are watching. And since we don't want them to talk like Peppa Pig, we want them to talk like us, we would rather supplement whatever we are teaching them with videos of ourselves.
Okay.
Performing an action or saying something and doing an action so that they learn how we talk. That is for visual learners, but some kids are not visual learners, and so they won't learn from Peppa Pig.
Okay, all right.